Greetings, my friend. Father Leo here, and I am a reflection for the second Sunday in Ordinary Time. So we've kind of closed the Christmas season and are moving into Ordinary Time, of course, which eventually will bring us around to Lent, and the time of Lent, which of course leads us then to the time of Easter. So we go around and around, and of course the idea is, even though there is that pattern of going around, it's a hope to be a spiral. It's not around, it's around and down into a deeper and richer spirituality. A spirituality that grows and becomes more growth and transformative in our lives. So spirituality is key. It's important. And the big thing is to know, well, how do I make my spirituality, and how do I get deeper into my sense of who I am? In the first reading today from the prophet Isaiah, he starts with the womb. The womb. And again, we're all familiar with that. We all came from the womb. Many of us, women in particular, your womb was the place from which you generated new life. And of course, we're all birth bearers. We birth new ideas, new suggestions, new ways. Birthing is integral to all of creation. And we have talked about God as a birtherer. That God births us, but he does it in and through creation. And the way some others put it, we're called to collaborate with God in birthing the universe and all that the universe contains. A beautiful, beautiful image. And of course, in the psalm today, here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. So it shows that for people to really say yes to that, here I am, Lord, I come to do your will, it's indicative that we're on side with the plan of God. Side with the plan of God. I'm not sure too many are. Sometimes I even wonder if I am. I hope to be, but I don't know. I hope I am, but who knows? I come to do your will. We're here to do the will of God. And what is the will of God? The leaders of all world religions pretty much tell us the same thing. To build a world, a different kind of world. That their religion is countercultural. And if we fit in, and I'm afraid that's happened to many Catholic Christians anyway, we have come to fit in. We're very comfortable being a part of the culture. And for the most part, I don't think many Catholics are countercultural. And that is a failure on our side. And a failure to really understand what it is to be a disciple of Jesus. So, to do the will. And of course, then we get in the gospel with John the Baptist. And John points to Jesus. There's the key thing about this. John the Baptizer points to Jesus. He said, there's the one. Join in with him. Join in with his mission. And of course, we know that Jesus, before he left the earth, gave his mission to the followers, to his friends. And they certainly did very well in carrying out the mission of Jesus. So with that in mind, I chose a reading for today from John Fitzgerald and his book, Anna Macara. He's an Irish author, but I thought, given the audience of Heaven Sunday Morning, and even many on Facebook, we often read that story in Ecclesiastes. There is a season for everything. There's the springtime of our life when we're born. There's a summer when we really live fully. and enjoy living and are very much into doing our own thing. Then there's the fall. And we're starting now into another phase of life. The fall of our life, a new season where we may have accomplished all we're going to accomplish, we think, and we're in the fall. Probably starts from 50 to 80. And from 80 onward, well, 50 to 80, we're in autumn. From 50 to 90 and 100, we're in the winter of our life. So that's kind of it. And we often say if we're under 50, we're young. If we're over 50, we're aging. Now, how true that is of individuals, of course, it varies from person to person. So with the notion of aging, I thought it's time maybe for us to sit back and take a look at aging, whether we are in the winter of our life or the autumn of our life. And if we are in the summertime of our life, just to be aware that we must appreciate and celebrate and really enjoy the summer of our life, because it's not going to last forever. Summer does not last forever. And so with that in mind, we talk about aging. And just to start it off, John Fitzgerald writes, "A new solitude in your life can make the prospect of aging frightening." So we do know that a lot of people are afraid of aging. Very often a good reason to be afraid, if you will. It's a time of not knowing. It's a time when maybe the body is starting to change. Maybe we don't have the same energy. Maybe we're saying, "I forgot," more often. Something is starting to happen. We realize in that phase of autumn, our body is slowing down, and even my memory, particularly our memory. I find my memory is a big thing in the autumn of my life, was my memory. How often I had to say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot." Did I say I'd do that? Yes, I did. Did I say I'd do it quickly? Yes, I did. Did I? No, I forgot. How often I said, "I forgot." And so it can be frightening. Can be. That phase between 50 and 80. It can be a frightening time for us. And when we think about it. And then, of course, from 80 to 100, yes, indeed, it can be frightening. In the autumn of our life, we know that our passage into eternity is closing in on us. From 80 to 100, we know for sure that our time on earth here is very short. So aging has it with it, that sense of frightening, anxiety, even fear. And for some people, spending a tremendous money and time in trying to look young. Used to be before cremation, when you went to a visitation at a funeral home, they did such a good job of using cosmetics on a corpse. They looked a lot younger than when they were actually alive. And people would out hear people say, "My gosh, she looks better now than she ever did." Well, that's pretty temporary stuff. But the thing is, he says there's something to be gained by aging. And that's the point I want to make this weekend. A new quietness settles in on the outer frame of your active life, on the work you have done, the family you have raised, the role you have played. Your life takes on a greater stillness and solitude. There's the big thing. I think that we find that as we age, move into the autumn of our life, we may have more time on our hands. certainly when we enter into the winter of our life, we do have a lot of more time on our hands. And while that can be aging, it can be frightening, it need not be, because it's to make good use of that time, to make good use of it. And what John O'Donohue is saying, it's a time for entering into solitude and quiet. Solitude and quiet. Now I notice that a lot of, call us seniors if you will, who include both the autumn people and the winter people, an awful lot of them are entering into that time of silence and fortitude with greater time set aside for just to be. There's a song we used to sing, just to be is a blessing, just to live is holy. So just to be. Sit still, just be, don't do. Be a human being by being. And find that, make a friend of solitude. Befriend silence. You know? Hello, silence, my old friend. Isn't that a word from a song by one of our great songwriters? Hello, silence, my old friend. Silence is our friend. We can make silence our friend. Another thing we do with solace and that and solitude is take time for contemplation. A time to contemplate. It's a time to meditate. Learn meditation, centering prayer or whatever. But take time to learn that and spend time, that kind of self-discipline where we don't waste the years of our life, the aging, that there is a purpose for it. And if we're fortunate enough to live long enough to be a part of that aging process, that we don't waste it. Now, as he points out here, over Fitzgerald, many people are haunted by the past. Things that they have not done, things that they should have done, that they regret not doing. And that's true, you know, the looking back. Looking back. And yet, when you think about it, if it's going to provoke or bring on guilt or regret or what have you, then why look back? So it's not the looking back, it's why does a person need to feel guilty? Why is a person collecting regret by looking back with I wish I had to, I should have, why didn't I? It's all spoiling because the past doesn't exist. The past does not exist. There is only the eternal now. There is only now. And you can ruminate about the past all you want to. It's still gone. And you can't bring it back no matter how much you punish yourself. Secondly, as far as the future is concerned, and a lot of people then are frightened of the future, wondering, how am I going to spend my last years? Do I have enough money? Is there somebody going to take care of me? Are there people that come around and journey with me when I'm dying, sick and dying? Am I going to die with somebody holding my hand, or will I die alone or die among strangers? A lot of questions of the future holds. Again, it can create a lot of anxiety. And why do you need anxiety? That's the question. You make the best plans you can of being looked after and cared for. And after that, you have to let it go and trust God. Trust God. Trust God that somehow in the great mystery of life that you will be cared for. I think that when we talk about aging, it's to have a sense that it's a time to get to know yourself. You know, we spend our life meeting and greeting and knowing many people That's great. Many people spend a great deal of time traveling to places, going on great trips. That's good. Many people spend a lot of time and money going to extravagant entertainments. It's all going to come to an end. And we will have time. And so it's recognized that aging is a time for ripening. When you actually meet yourself, indeed maybe for the first time, it's a time of ripening. That's where we really can do a lot of maturing, first of all, integration. How often I've sat with a person who is dying, and they have time, they tell me the story of their life, a fragmented life at times. But somehow in the telling of the story, integration takes place. Things come together. Now it makes sense, and they are able to say, it was good. It was good. And what a relief that is for people who, before they die, tell their story and bring about that integration. It's also a time for reconciliation. Again, I have been in the rooms in palliative care where fractured families gathered around a parent who was dying. And I would ask them, how are things? And very often they would admit, the son might say, I never liked my father. Or a daughter might say, my mother was too cold. I've been staying away from her. There's need for reconciliation. And it's better that you do that before death than think you can get away with it after death. And so the big time I've seen over and over again in that hospital room in palliative care where people have spoken words for the first time in 20, 40 years. And in speaking and listening and doing it with a desire for reconciliation and healing, tremendous healing has taken place. It's just unbelievable. A beautiful thing. Aging. And so that's what I want to leave you with today, wherever you may be in the seasons of your life. You could easily be in the summer. You may be very young, healthy, strong, bright, doing well. Life seems to be very good. Well, thanks be to God, it is. Live with gratitude. Thank God if it is that way. It's not that way for everybody. That's another topic. But here tonight, when we're talking about aging, if you're in the summer of your life, live with gratitude. If you move past 50, and if you're in the autumn of your life, it's time for another task. Different kind of tasks in the autumn of our life. Different kind of tasks. Things we need to do to become, as I said, comfortable with silence and solitude. Time to take a look at our life and time to perhaps, if we know that we are not at peace with some family member, in the autumn of your life, it's a time to pick up the phone. Time to send an email. It's time to visit and say, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's heal. Let's reconcile. Let's be at one. Let's not waste the autumn of our life. If you're in the winter of your life, different tasks again. I think for me, my main task is diminishment. Diminishment, my life, my circle is growing smaller by the day. It is diminishing physically, mentally, emotionally. My life, relationships, friends. So many of my friends have passed on, and I'm still here. So diminishment is a big part of the winter of our life in various ways, depending on how kind or unkind life is to us. Diminishment is a big one. In the winter of our life, the other big one is letting go. Letting go. And that's a tough one. That is a tough one, to let go. One of the biggest let go I had to do was moving out of my house. Because shortly after I moved out, my friends went in and cleaned out the house and got rid of everything. And it really hurt. I didn't even see it going. I didn't even have a chance to say goodbye to it. It was taken away. And so, in the winter of our life, many things will seem to be taken away from us. But we still need to let go and not be angry and resentful. There are other things we need to let go of, that we do it with the grace of God. The grace of God enables us to say, I let go of that. And by practicing letting go and becoming more a friend with silence and solitude, we arrive to that point of the great letting go. The great letting go, which then becomes a passage. At the beginning of this reflection, I talked about birthing. And we're born anew into a new life beyond this one. Jesus said in there are many rooms in God's house. That's one way to put it. Quantum physics tells us there are many layers of energy. So, which layer of energy I'll end up in, I don't know. Maybe I'm in one already. We're all in one. You can't be outside the bubble. It's impossible. So we're all living in the one with the physical body. But someday we'll lay aside this body, and we will be birthed into a whole new life without. And if you want to know what it looks like, take and get a good book on near-death experiences. Read up on it, and you will see what lies ahead. I often think it's almost like winning the lottery. It sounds almost too good to be true, but it's there for us. And so part of the aging is to come to terms with, come to peace with letting go. And when we let go, on the one hand, we increase our intimacy, our relationship with the God who dwells within us and all around us. We experience healing, we are transformed, and we are in a much better place when we leave here and are birthed into eternity. Aging. It's meant to be a time of grace, of reconciliation, and healing. God bless.